Thank you for clicking. Today we have a good show ahead. Sorry I'm so late. Y'all just keep me in prayer and listen because I'm behind, y'all. I don't know what's going on, but it's gonna get done. I will not quit. I will not quit. So today we're gonna have a sensitive topic. It's sensitive for some people because some people don't want to admit that it's wrong. And so I got a special guest to come on with me. I felt like I needed a helping hand with this subject because, I get in my feelings fast and I've been ran off as well. So today I have Mr. Whitley Reggie. Hi, Reggie.
Hi. I feel like
So
my voice
today,
hasn't been heard in so long.
I know it hasn't. I feel, look, shoot, can I get mine to be heard once a week like it's supposed to be? Lord, my husband took the kids. I was like, "Ooh, let me hurry up and do this podcast." That don't make no sense. I got to run from my boy Josh. He
They
be
don't know
trying to
how to
get
be
in.
a struggle.
Look, Josh will be trying to get in everything. Hey, hey, hey! I think most people know him from the show than they know me.
Now, we're going
Uh,
to charge him a fee so he can get his own
n-
show.
you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna set up a podcast with his little buddy and see if he gonna talk. Y'all may not understand, but my boy gonna come through with some stuff. I named him Joshua for a reason. He got
Yes, she did. Yes, he does.
a word. Okay, so today, like I said, today is a sensitive topic. Like I told y'all at the beginning of the season that every topic that I discuss this season is most sensitive because it's from my heart. It's my own experiences. Some is just how I feel and what I see and how I feel about certain situations. So today we're gonna talk about friendships. Friendships are so important, especially in this day and hour. You have many friendships. You have friendships dealing with your significant other. You have friendships with your family. You have friendships with outsiders, and it's a lot of categories to friendship for me. And so, one of the main friendships that I want to discuss today is outsider friendships. And I would collaborate with the family friends, but I don't know right now. But the outside friendships is to me something that needs to be discussed because I feel like an outside friendship is just like a marriage in a sense because you coming from somebody that's not family, somebody that you don't know, that really don't know you, that's going to know you. Friendships last sometimes like from childhood all the way up to adulthood. And so I wanted to speak on because I have came to the conclusion that some of these friendships are they really friendships or are they friendships with benefits or are they friendships just because you don't the time frame that you add in your life? I mean, what is a true friendship? I need for somebody to let me know, comment on this podcast and let me know what do you feel, how do you think, because it's gonna be discussed again. I'm gonna bring it back up because I told you I don't let stuff go till I get some feedback. So I just want to thank personally right now for Reggie. I feel like we were just talking the other day as to how did we become friends. Cause he ain't friendly at all. He don't really talk to
Mm-mm.
nobody. I'm just
Nobody.
being, I'm just being real. And so
Put it out there.
I'm not too friendly, but I conversate. But it takes a minute for me to feel comfortable, really, to just once I love a person or I see a person is genuine, I kind of grasp on to this because you never know who you may need. For one, two is I feel like God had friends. He had all those 12 disciples, even though one betrayed him.
Jesus.
Or they Jesus, I mean, had friends, but even though one he was betrayed, he still considered him as a friend. He took him with him. He had him with him. Going to everywhere. So I'm looking like, okay, you do have Judas as friends. They do exist. And you got Paul, you got all the disciples that was with him. So um the expectation, I feel like in this day and time of friendship is very valuable because we have went through so much in 2020. You have some people marriages. Like I say, marriages is a good point. Represent a good part in the Bible about friendships because how can two walk together unless they agree? But that's every to me. It's entwined with everything. You can't. You got to be able to agree to disagree. You got to be able to be, like I say, teachable at all times and understanding at all times. And I think that's one of the big part of being a friend. But let me say this. Like I said before, 2020 has exposed a lot of relationships. Are they friendships? Are they not friendships? Are they marriages? Are they not married? I mean, like it's all over the place. You have people nowadays quick to cut friendships off over 10, 20, 30 years. I mean, childhood friendships into adult friendships over the pettiest thing. And for the life of me, I'm just like, okay, how can you let this or that destroy a friendship and not come together and really just kill it at the head? Just get to the problem, get to the root. I done fell out with a few of my friends. I got a best friend, um, my daughter's godmother. We have disagreed uh, a few times. Majority of the time, it was over, you know, a significant other of mine. And but I must say, after everything that we've been through, when it comes to my daughter, I know for a fact I felt, even though we wasn't talking at the time, even though we wasn't around each other, we in two different states. I knew for a fact in my heart that she kept my child in her prayers. I felt the prayers because to me, when you friends with somebody, you feel their connection and you feel that they gonna love you regardless of what you do. I mean, if even if I was to rob a bank, is you gonna fold? Or is you gonna just correct me for my wrongdoing? Or you gonna say check me and still love me anyway? Or you gonna walk off and say, oh, I can't be disconnected with you. You done lost your way or whatever. Is you gonna pray me through? You gonna hold my hand? I mean, what is you gonna do? And a lot of friendships I realize where that's getting broken up in this day and time is over men. Women would fall out with their best friend over years, over a new relationship, companionship, and it's like you have to choose. And they ain't necessarily got to be the husband. They could just be a boyfriend or a baby daddy. And it's like, I mean, for real, like I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, you gonna let this ninja
Yeah.
come between this relationship, or you gonna cut me off because you with this ninja, or is you know what ninja is, and it's no, and they may be a good person, and it's not no one. I don't know if it's to a point where you're looked at as you don't have that type of person that I have, or I can't affiliate with you no more, because of the relationship that I'm in now, or but it's a walkaway experience. That's what gets me. Everything is a walkaway. There's no. So was it a genuine friend? Bridget, help me out because I go on and on. Was it a genuine friendship from the beginning? If you could just walk away, don't say nothing, or give a. It's just like in a marriage. In a marriage, you have to get a divorce in order to disconnect. You got to talk. You got to come to some kind of head because you got to give a divorce. And I feel like a friendship should have a divorce.
Yeah.
You got.
So I feel like I agree. Um, but one of my things is I've always said, and I've said it for years. Um, I started saying it after I learned because nobody necessarily taught me. We go to marriage counseling. Even before you get married, you go to marriage counseling. What do you expect in a marriage? You go to parental counseling or parental meetings before you become a parent. What to expect in parenthood? You go to adoption meetings when you talk to people who have adopted children. What to expect when you are adopting a child? What to expect in the process? We go through all of these things, and everything I just named is a relationship
Right.
of some sort. But nobody, literally, I have to this day never ever. To my remembrance, I've never ever seen anybody really teach in depth on friendships. You have a lot of sermons that are about the main relationship that they talk about is a marriage relationship, and then another one that I didn't even include in that is relationships as far as business relationships, how to handle a business partnerships. There's so many teachings out there. Friendships are not taught about, but they are so important because even the verse that says, "Can two walk together unless they agree?" That wasn't even talking about marriage. That's just one of those things, and I'm gonna keep it short with this. That's just one of those things that people teach and they put that scripture where they need it to be to work for what they need it to work for, but they use it out of context because although it can be applied to marriage, it wasn't necessarily talking directly to married couples. It was just asking a general question. One of the things that I think people should be taught is instead of just falling out and being like, you did something different with your microphone or something because I hear my echo. Instead of people just falling out and being like, hey, um, I ain't talking to them no more. They did this to me, they did that to me. I believe people should have a conversation. I've seen people from young, because I used to teach third graders. So um, these third graders always had more drama than the Real Housewives of Atlanta,
Tell me about it.
literally. So I've seen them fall out, and I've seen people older in their 60s and 70s fall out with people. And it's like, this ain't how you. First of all, you shouldn't be having no beef with nobody, especially if you grown. You know, I use the
Exactly.
term jokingly, like, "Hey, we got beef," but
Right.
why do you have beef with anybody? That's so childish. And if you have quote beef, if you have an issue with somebody, the thing that you are supposed to do is, I don't care how bad it is. I believe you have to get to the point where you have the conversation with them. If you
Hmm.
decide I'm cutting you off, you should tell them why. Because number one, just like in a relationship, e- even if you don't care about the person, you should care enough to say, let me tell you about yourself so that when you go on to the next, you don't do the same little stupid stuff because
Same thing.
somebody might do something to
Exactly.
you. Whereas I'm just
Exactly.
going to be nice and, walk away.
Exactly.
Because the conversation, I think there has to be a closeout conversation. Um, and I know we're going to move more into being a friend and all of that stuff. But when it comes to ending friendships, there's nothing wrong with ending friendships
Mm-mm.
if you do it for the right reason, and a lot of people think that they're doing it for the right reason, but they're not. Um, but if you do it for the right reason, and go ahead.
Because you do outgrow. There is a thing where you outgrow.
But I
It's
think
like
people need to know what is it to outgrow, because I've seen a lot of
right.
people that will go around saying, "I've outgrown this person. I outgrew her. I agree with them." What do you mean? How do you know? What? How did
Eh,
you judge that?
right.
Have you really
And
outgrown?
so I had to think about it. I had to pray on. I had to think about it for a second because I was like, when we was talking the other day, I thought about it. I said outgrowing. When people say outgrowing, there comes a time when people just don't want to change. To me, I feel like, I'm a Proverb 27:17. That's my scripture. That's my iron sharper iron, one to another. I just truly believe that in a friendship, you got to sharpen your friend. You have to keep your friend encouraged. You have to, regardless of what they do or how they act or whatever. But it does come to a point, where sometimes you may feel like you have outgrown a person. You have some friends that uh say in a sense that don't want to change. You got it as far as like when it comes to their behavior. If I got a friend that, but at the same time, I feel like it's not a cut off. It's like you outgrew them in that way. So just say for instance, if we friends and we close, and I know you got a bad attitude, like you got a hot head. It don't matter where we at, you gonna pop out. And I'm starting a business. So if I'm starting a business and I'm trying to get my name out there in a positive way, and you out there doing
Fight.
whatever, right, fighting and carrying on and just doing stuff, I got to kind of stray. I got to kind of stray. You know what I'm saying? I got to kind of, and I'm gonna tell you, girl, I can't take you nowhere. I can't do nothing with you because you gonna sit up there and you gonna act a fool whatever it comes wherever we go. And it's not that it's super bad, but it's like in First Corinthians I was reading, it said, "Bad company ruins good morals." So that gave me closure in that sense, as far as outgrowing, because some people, but like I say in a sense, you tell that person why.
And two,
It's like
I think there's another part to that because I think that there's a step that you're missing and what a lot of people miss because that person, same scenario. Okay, so who gonna help that person? So it's like
exactly.
when people get saved, people. Oh, so I know this lady who was like heavy in the clubs. I'm talking about heavy, heavy. So heavy that she worked in one. She didn't just. It wasn't just a job for her. She enjoyed it, and I mean, would get drunk, would fight like a mad dog, and all that stuff. And now people say, like when you guys, oh, you're so saved now, you're so sold out, you're so whatever. I can't even see you doing that stuff that you said that you used to do. What happened to your old friends? Like, how did you get new friends when you cross over? And she was like, I have the same friends. Like, I have the same people that I was with then, I'm with now. But she was that light to them, and they ended up getting saved after she got
Right.
saved because they were like, oh, if you can go from being this person to
To
this
that person.
person,
Right.
so I think people, even when they say, because to me that's a cop out too. I outgrew you, because if
Yeah.
you out, but perhaps you have. If you outgrew me, why aren't you that one that's gonna reach back and say, "Hey, let me give you a helping hand"? Let me now. It's one thing if you are, in your words, if you are unteachable, if you just don't
Yeah.
want to change. Some people just don't
Yeah.
want to change. Now, them people,
Right.
I say, you know what? Wash your hands. I'm done with it.
Bad company. That's bad
Right.
company.
But if you, and I would say if you are bad company, but you are a teachable bad company, and because bad company don't have to stay bad, and so I always say like them people who we just leave out there, who gonna help them?
Right. That's
What you
true.
gonna do? See them on Facebook, and you still gonna say, "Oh, look at them cussing the babies out. Look at them high. Look at them half naked. Oh, poor, they used to be me.
Poor
Oh,
little
thank
tink tink.
God I've changed. Poor little tink tink. Thank God I've changed. Ooh, I'm glad I ain't like that no more. Ooh, she needs to grow up. Well, who gonna help her grow up? You grew
Yeah.
up, so have you tried to help her instead of trying to cut her off or
Yeah.
him off? So that's my
Yeah.
thing. There's a step that people be missing when it comes to cutting off. That we give up too easily. And a lot of
Yes.
times we do it out of pride because now you came into a little money. You can put on your red bottoms. Oh, I gotta remind me when we get off this recording, Chantel, to tell you about some red bottoms. You gotta put on your
Oh
red
God.
bottoms. You you gotta wear your nice outfit. You looking good. You looking fly. Got your hair done. I'm talking about got your hair done with some like human hair added
I
in.
mean, like
You ain't
two
using
hundred
that
dollars here.
synthetic stuff. I'm talking about it ain't gonna melt when you put heat to it. So now you really think you some because you got a good, wonderful Asian to do your nails. And I said wonderful because we're going through Asian hate right now, but we're not gonna
Yes.
emphasize it. A wonderful Asian has done your nails. I'm talking about some nice nails. You so fancy. They got it now. I've seen it on the Instagram where you can get the red beneath your nail to represent like a Louis Vuitton red bottom. It's too fancy
Ain't
for
that
me.
some?
But now you saying, well, I can't be around her because look how she dressed. Because now that's your pride rising up. I can't be around her because look how she look. Ooh, look how she got them bangs. Because I can send a bang. Look how, look how
Oh,
they
we ain't
look.
gonna
Now
go there
I don't
about the
want to
bang.
be. See how I just brushed over it? Look how they look, and look how I look. I don't want to be associated with them. So now your pride is saying, I'm not gonna help my brother. I'm not gonna help my sister. I'm going to find a quote brother or sister who is where I feel like I am, who looks how I think I look, because some of y'all still be looking raggedy. and I'm gonna hang around them so that we can look good together. And a lot of people do it in relationships who are romantic relationships because they're saying, "Good man, good woman, we don't look the same though, so I got to cut
Mm.
this off." So I need people to start. And it's I'm not saying that because that shouldn't be my responsibility. Iron sharpens iron. The Bible has so much about friendships and helping each other and stuff that we don't even look at. And
Mm-mm.
so I mean, it don't have to be your. I'm not saying that that's your job or nothing. But what if nobody had done it for you?
And then it goes deeper than that to me. To just since we spoke on it, because you have to understand not only when you're dealing with friendships. I had a situation uh with my daughter Soraya, and we have to also be understanding with our children, because when you friends with somebody for so long, that means what you intake in their child's life. And so 9 out of 10, the child's gonna look at you as family, not as friends. Oh, mama, like, mama, where is so and so? I haven't seen them in a long time, and I just look at them because I'm like, uh, I can't answer that for, and I'm not finna sit up here and bad talk her, because majority majority of everybody that I have called a friend that has been associated with my daughter, or with my kids, period, my kids still love them. They don't look at them no more. They look at them different, but they actually like, where are they? And so that goes into the child also. I think, kids get affected in friendship. And I always piggyback on my daughter's godmother because, like you said, in a spiritual sense, she's a pastor. And so I wasn't a pastor at the time. I mean,
You
we
a
was
pastor
out there
now?
together. No, Lord, catch him, Holy Ghost. No,
No,
I ain't no
catch her,
pastor.
cause she the one
Uh,
said it, Lord. I'm trying to
No,
help her, so
no,
she
I
don't
say
claim
she was.
something she ain't ready for.
No,
No, you
no,
said
no,
I wasn't
no.
no
Well,
pastor at the time.
yeah, you're right. Let me rephrase that. I ain't no pastor.
I'm trying to see if you
So
accepting your calling
yeah, I accept the calling, but I don't think
to
it's
be a pastor.
pastoring.
Oh,
No,
okay,
now I say I
okay.
don't think it's pastoring. But
In all you're getting, get an understanding.
yes, please do help me. So when it came down to me and her relationship, like I said, we was in the streets together. So she came. Matter of fact, it was me and her sibling, and it was to the point where we was the clubbers. We used to go out, have fun, get drunk. We did everything. And so when she crossed over, she didn't look down. She actually, it was her sister, which was my sister. She's still like a sister to me. Even though we don't talk and we're not as close as we used to be, I still consider her as family. She basically would take us to church. I mean, get us to go to church. And so when she became, like I said, when she became a pastor, she didn't leave me. She didn't give up on me, and she didn't leave. I was out there, but she never lost. She'll call and be like, "Come on, Sean, let's pray." And I'm like, "Lord, here she go again. Let's pray."
Mhm.
And she know I went to the club, or I was at the casino all night, and then she wanted to sit up here and talk about, "Let's pray," or and stuff like that. But I thank God because she taught me a valuable lesson, that it's okay to be friends with people that's not where you are at the time, because eventually they saved my life, because I was so disconnected from God that they got me back, through them, through her light, and through their light, I ended up back in God's house because I had been out there for so long. And so it's like she didn't give up. She did not give up on me, and I'm forever grateful for her for that, because she did not give up. And to this day, she'll be calling or saying something, sending me posts and different stuff like that. And I appreciate that. But even though we're not, like I say, in the same area, state, or whatever, she didn't give up. And so I had where I actually called a few people that God put on my heart and said, "Thank you. Thank you for not giving up on me." It was a situation that I went through, and 2 years ago, and a lot of people, I realized, just it was I had a few people was like, you off, you don't look the same, something wrong with you, what's going on with you or whatever. So when I told them what was going on or whatever, it's like they was there but they wasn't there. They was there for a they say season, for a season, and it's like to this day we have no connection. We'll talk but it's not the same. So with that, it's like, but you know, our kids knew each other, our kids play with each other, our kids talk to each other. So it's like the riot, she'll come, Mama, where's such and such? I haven't seen them in a long time. And I'm like, how do I teach her? In this generation, you have parents teaching their kids, you don't need no friends. And that is a complete lie.
Cause
I
even
have
that
not,
old song, I love the song, and I say this all. It's a bop, as they say. Vicky Winans came up with something. It's got a nice little rhythm. I've been lied on, cheated, talked about mistreated. I've been buke scoring, talked about sure as your boy. And I've been up,
yep,
down,
I'm
almost to the
down,
ground. But
almost to
long
the
as
ground.
I got King
But long as
Jesus,
I got,
don't
I don't
need
need
nobody
nobody
else.
else.
Biggest lie I've heard in the gospel song, and most of these gospel songs be lying. Because one thing that
It's
I
like,
remember
yeah,
little
they
bits and
slept out.
pieces of different things and from the past. I remember Harriet Mention Church, Greenville, Mississippi. Um, the co-pastor was Beatrice Jernigan, and I had to have been five, maybe four, five, six at the most. And I remember when she came up, because I think around that time was when Vicky came out with the song. And Pastor Jernigan got up and she said that song, those lyrics, and she said, "Do y'all know that that's not true? You do need other people." And that's always
Yeah.
stuck with me. Like, oh, I do
Yeah.
need other people. Oh,
Mhm.
well, why would she say that then? And so to this day, if it come on now, I'll be clapping. I might do a little dip in my knees with it. But I know at the end of the day, I'm gonna say, "But God, I know that's a lie." I'm not making that
Right.
declaration because you literally need people. If you look in whatever book it's in, huh? Because I don't have a degree
Mhm.
in the Bible. So if you look at whatever book it's in the New Testament, it's one of the first seven. I'm assuming, read until you find it. The story of David and Jonathan. David literally would have been killed by Saul had Jonathan, Saul's servant, not befriended David and helped him escape. So why on
Come
earth
on.
would you think
Oh, I feel a
that
word.
all you need, I know a little bit. Why would you think that you need nobody but King Jesus? Now, you need him more than you need anybody else. But he gives
Right.
us people though. Why would he create all these people if we didn't need nobody else? Why would we
Right.
have households if we didn't need nobody else? If we didn't need nobody else, we'll be able to reproduce by ourselves. We'll be able to run whole organizations by ourselves. Every business will be a one man business. I mean, come on now, let's be logical. That doesn't
Yes.
make sense. So I really wish we would stop. Not we, because I ain't got no children. Except in its own single y'all out. I really wish we would stop teaching our children that you don't need nobody else because that's isolation, and God doesn't want us to be isolated. And quite frankly, it's stupid. So I really want us to do better
Yeah.
so we can learn. But I want us to also be able to teach healthy things in friendships because some friendships I think we can all agree are not healthy.
Mhm.
And so there's a
Yeah.
number of things, if we have time, ironically did not prepare for this, but I have. Things that we need to be looking for when it comes to, because so many, I think people go from 0 to 100. People go from I don't need nobody to I need you to do for this, I need you for that, I need you for that, I need you for that. And it's like you just so depend on friends and other people for things that you definitely should not be dependent on them for. To do
Yeah.
things that they should not be doing.
Right. And so it goes back to, one of the things that I said, and I tell my daughter to this day, you're going to need friends. But you're going to have friends. You're going to have people that come into your life. You're going to have people come in your life for a season. You're going to have people come in your life, period. And you got to know how to connect with people where they are. You know, a lot of people can get saved off your life if you allow them to. And that's the whole point of being a friend. And I have to tell her, one of the things I tell her constantly is don't be afraid to hang around. And some people are scared to befriend people because they smarter than them. They got to be the top dog
And
in
it's more
whatever
so
they
than
do.
that. It goes deeper than that. Some people are more afraid to people who are smarter than them. Get some pictures. We are. I think we can, if we sit down and look, we can find that one friend who only has uglier friends. Because some people are
Right,
that insecure. They have to befriend people who they feel don't look as good as them. Or if somebody
right.
as good as them, they'll go and get some done. Let me go get me a extra booty added on. You know? Because they got a big booty.
Yeah,
And you can't be walking around with a big
right.
booty. Let me go
Yeah.
hit the gym a little harder because now you just start lifting. Oh, okay.
Let
Well,
me
let me
help.
go and start lifting. You to start making more money, they can't be around people who make more money than them. So it's all of these things smarter than them. They want about that make more money than them. Some don't want who look better than them, who drive nicer cars than them, who has a bigger house than them. And I think that now those types of people, I ain't gonna say every time, but those types of people, if you notice that about your friends, I think that that's a good reason to cut them off. A one upper. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that ain't for everybody. So that's just for me. If it's for you, grab it and hold on to it. Because why would you want to be friends with somebody who has to one up you and everything? Because first of
Right.
all, it shouldn't be a competition. But if every time I go and get a car, I notice you go and get a car a little while later, that kind of stuff. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I know like celebrities and millionaires who, or know of them, who I've seen there people who roll in their circle, they'll go and get literally a Rolls Royce. And when you look up there going buy them a new Rolls Royce. Like literally, why did you just do that? That's the dumbest thing. Oh, they got them a new bag. Let me go order me a new bag. That's so stupid to me. Now those type I don't know why anybody would want to be friends with them. Because first of all, there's always competition. There's a little jealousy and envy there, apparently. It might not even be about you, it might be something that's on the inside of them.
Yeah.
Still talk to them and let them know. But it's just certain types of people that I'm just like, that ain't gonna work out. This ain't gonna.
Right.
I'm gonna
And
have to cut you off.
I have a thing where I have it where, and I tell Soraya, you always want to hang with people that know more than you because you got to always be teachable. Teachable. Never think that you're too smart to not learn from nobody. And I got hood friends. I got, I got all caliber of friends, people that I consider friends, because you know, just because I'm not where they are, I'm not gonna leave them. Eventually they'll come around, but yet and still, I have to teach her. Everybody ain't gonna be on your level in a sense, but
Just
that
as
don't
long as
mean
you don't let them pull you back down to that.
exactly. As
Because
long
I
as
want to
you
say some
growing,
people are not strong enough for that message. Because some people not. If you have somebody who is a heavy gambler and your friendship is built on y'all gambling together, and now you have stopped gambling and you don't want to do that anymore at all. Um, it might be good for you to kind of distance yourself. Don't it doesn't mean you have to like completely end it, but you have to know your limits. Okay, when I get
right?
on the phone with them, if all they talk about is girl, because I went down there to the casino, to the boat, because you don't know to be saying no casino. I went down there to the boat and I won this, I won that, I won that. And that's all they got to talk about. Ain't nothing else for them to talk about. Then perhaps you shouldn't be talking to them. Because then that's gonna make you say, they went down there and won all that. Ooh, it must be doing good down there. This must be a good season down there. But I need to go down there and get up on that, cash in on that. So when you have people, not saying cut them off just because you have quote elevated, but if they are the type who, and it's not saying that they're doing it on purpose, but if you're not strong enough to where, and you have to, that's why you got to be honest with yourself. If you're not strong enough to where you can still hang out with them, because some people will make you feel like, oh well, if you just stop doing that, then it shouldn't be no problem for you to be around somebody that do it. Not necessarily. That's why
Yeah,
you have to know yourself. Don't set
yeah.
yourself up to fall back.
So it
Same
goes
thing
deep.
with eating. I mean, it goes as something as small as eating. I have a friend who literally will go months without seeing his family because all they do is eat, and he wanted to lose weight. So he was like, I can't go down there and visit them right now because if I go down there, I know I'm gonna eat a whole lot. So in other words, you're not strong enough to
Yeah,
resist that eating, and that's okay. So just
yeah.
take a little time, be a little distant. I couldn't talk to them
But
right now because they always at a drive for food, and that's gonna make me want to go. So do what you have to do. Don't let the guilt trip on you.
hello. And so it goes very deep. Friendships go very deep, and I feel like you need to be mindful of your life and like I said, when Jesus, he had plenty of people around him, and it's like sometimes you have to let your light. Well, not sometimes you have to let your light shine, and eventually people will grow. And please, people, don't put a time frame on another person's growth level. And I feel like that's a big issue too, because had my friend put a time frame on the level of my growth, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I thank God that she just didn't say, "Oh, it's been 3 months. She ain't got it yet. I'm just gonna let her go." Even though we probably didn't talk or whatever, she still. You can. I mean, we live in 2020. Everything is electronic. 2021. But you know what I'm saying. Everything is electronic. Send a text. Hey, just calling to check on you, see how you doing, or whatever, and let that be that. And don't don't just give up so fast. And like I say, give reasons. If you do disconnect, give reasons. Just don't just leave it out there. And even if it's kids involved, just because you don't agree with my lifestyle or agree with where I'm at in life, don't give up on the child, because you may win the child over, and the child may be a light for the parent to change. Who's to say? You had a lot of people back in the day. I remember my mama sending me to church. She didn't go to church, but she sent us to church. So it was a light that my uncle, if he wouldn't have took the time, on my dad's side, if he wouldn't have taken time, rest in peace, Uncle Eddie, if he wouldn't have took the time, him and my mama was still friends. And so he didn't just give up on her, but he never gave up on the kids as well. So you don't know what people in life. You just got to give them time. And in due season, my mama came aboard. I mean, when she came aboard, she came hard. She came so hard, I was mad at her. Because I couldn't go to roller world no more. I couldn't do nothing. It's like, that is not of God. So, but in a sense, it's like, I had to learn. And it's so deep that I had a saying where, oh, it's so many cousins that you don't need friends and you don't need that. I mean, like Reggie said, it is
I
a lot.
always say about that. I always say about because there are some people who either A have big families and so they just keep the friendships in the families, or B they might not even have big families but they're secluded there to themselves, with themselves, by themselves. We don't need we don't go out, we don't mingle out. It's enough for us. We go to school together. We don't need no outside friends. My thing is, and I've said this on somebody's podcast, I don't know whose it
You
was
probably
and
mind
when's it
generational.
was. Maybe so. But I remember saying that when you have that kind of life and those kind of circles, you don't know dysfunction. If you live in a house where it's just noisy all the time, I mean unnecessarily noisy, the dog is barking, the TV is turned up loud, the everybody's talking loud and hollering at each other, the goldfish got loud gulps when it
That
swims.
man said the goldfish.
It's just loud. If that's all you know, Because you don't have no outside friends, you don't have outside people. That's all you know. What is your life gonna look like when you experience the real world, or will you just forever live a life of this dysfunction? Because that is dysfunctional. For your house to always be loud, I don't care how many people in there. And so, but you don't see it's dysfunctional because you have never experienced a quiet house. And so now, children growing up in this dysfunction, and even if it
Mm-hmm.
ain't that, if it's something about messy, like that house is messy, or messy mouths, y'all just gossip as a family, y'all just sit up and everything, y'all
Yep.
mean, y'all crazy, you schizophrenic, you bipolar. There are families when everybody has cancer. And that's
Yeah.
dysfunction. That's a generational curse. But everybody has cancer. That's what's expected. You don't know no better because all your friends, all your family, everybody's family has cancer because it's running the bloodline. You don't know that that can be broken. You don't know that there's steps that can be done to prevent.
Mm-hmm.
You'll never know because all you have is your family as your friends.
Yeah.
So when you get married, now you thinking your husband or you thinking your wife is crazy because of the things that they do, the way that they live. But they're saying this isn't crazy, but now y'all fighting and probably headed toward divorce because all you knew, because all you were ever exposed to was your dysfunctional family. And so now you
And
can't
that's the
handle
word.
nothing else because you think that that's normal because it
Yeah.
is normal to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
But if
And
you
that is
don't
so
go
true.
outside, so that makes me think of homeboy in the Bible with leprosy. When because the Bible sets it up to let us know that there was a whole like city or village with people who had leprosy. Like everybody with leprosy, they just got sent over there. Like here you go, goes on over there. If everybody in there has leprosy
Oh,
and
they my
everybody in there
coronavirus.
dies from leprosy,
I'm just okay. That's easy. Go ahead.
don't start. And everybody in there has leprosy. It's known. Okay, we're gonna come in here because we got this disease. It cannot be healed. We're all gonna die. Okay, so when Jesus came, laid hands on the guy and was like, "Hey, you don't have leprosy anymore." I wanna like, Oprah did this thing where she had like the talk show, and then after the talk show ended, she did like, "Where are they now?" I wanna know, where did homeboy end up? Did you stay in there with everybody with leprosy? Did you stay in your dysfunction? Or did you go out into the world to show people, hey, you guys, this is what can happen? Because
Mm.
until we get exposed to something that we're not used to, we'll feel that what we're used to is the only way that there is that is available
Mm.
for us. So, another reason why friendships are so important. Um, because you get exposed to, if you're not exposed to other cultures, if you're not exposed to whatever, you will never know that your ways are not right, your ways are not normal. Everybody in your family lie, so you think it's okay to lie until you meet a ninja like me who ain't gonna put up with a liar and it's gonna call you out every time I catch you in a lie.
Ooh,
And
tell
so
me
now
about
you
it.
gonna say, oh, so it wasn't okay. Oh, there's no such thing as white lie. Oh, so that's not okay. No, it's not okay. You think it's okay to have all these partners. You a whole.
A whole
Is
hoe.
that a thank? Because I was saying, can I say it on her podcast? You got a
Ooh, and
Christian
I
podcast.
said it. See,
And
that's
your
what I mean.
family, I
Reason
mean,
for
your daddy, Papa was a Rolling Stone. Grandpapa was a Rolling Stone. Surely I have to be a Rolling Stone. You literally don't. But until you realize that that's not, there's other ways to live.
true that.
There's people that's literally taught. They teach their children, "Hey, you don't get married. Marriage is no, that's not good." But until you get around people who've had successful marriages, because what your daddy taught you about not getting married comes from his marriage, which was bad, and he saw bad marriages. But until you get friends who have had, because you have generations of people who get divorces, but you have generations of people who married for 40, 50, 60 years. And until you get connected with some of the people, you going to think not getting married is the way to go. It's the best way to be. So we have to get out of ourselves. We have to get out of our normalcies and our surroundings and stuff, and get around people who can help us to see the world through a different set of lenses.
Mm-hmm. That is so true. And so, with
with me, and like I say, it all goes back to, you know, everything in this season is valuable. You have to put yourself and you have to help other people out no matter where they are in life, especially if you love them. Because one thing about it, when you use the L word, whether it's a friendship, a marriage, or whatever, that means a lot. And for you to turn off, how can people turn off love? God is of love. So how can you turn it off so quick because of where somewhere where is that person is at in their life? And so was you ever a friend? And then I think it goes back to uh being examining yourself as well as to how would you want somebody to treat you and how would you want somebody to do you if you know you was in that situation. So it's a deep subject, and like me and you can go on and on about a whole bunch of stuff. So do you have any more nuggets that you can give us to know or to help to become and examine ourselves and really just be a light in a different way, or just really look back and say, okay, I was wrong. Let me call this person and be like, you know what? I cut you off. I cut you off for this such, but I still love you. But in that season, at that particular time, I felt like I couldn't deal with you where you was, or I could. And sometimes you feel like you can't help people where they at because you dysfunctional. And I have I have became learned that about myself. I have pulled away from people because it wasn't their fault. It was my fault because where I was. I felt like I was so dysfunctional that, you know, I didn't know how to be a friend. And it's a lot of us just don't know how to truly be a friend.
Yeah. So I'm not an expert by any means, but I have 4 to 5 things that I wanted to, because I always like for people to leave with a little something. And whenever I have to present anything or preach or minister or whatever, I like for people to take notes. You know,
Hmm.
uh, even sometimes when I be on the phone with people, I be like, "All right, let's get out your notepad." Um,
And I think I'm one of those people he be doing that on y'all.
yeah, yes, I
I
do. I
know
don't know
I
if you
am.
be taking notes or not, but I be trying, Lord. So one of the things that the first one, based on what you was just talking about in that last statement. I mean that last thing, the paragraph. I don't want to say last statement because it wasn't the last statement. Anyway, so when it comes to being a good friend, there are certain things that we have to avoid in being a good friend. Um, One of the things that we have to focus on, because you were talking about, do I need to call, or do I need to let them know, do I need to whatever. One of the things we have to do is self-examine and figure
Hmm.
out, okay, is there, first of all, is there resentment, or is there any type of like regret that you have? Regret is based on what the other person, I mean, what you did. Regret is what you did, and resentment is based on what the other person did to you, or even what you feel that they did to you. So that's two different things. Do you have regret? Oh, I should have did this, or I should have said this, I should have done that, I should have been a better, should have been able to do this. And do you have resentment? What they should have done this. They should have done that. If you have regret, that's something that you can deal with on your own. Regret is sometimes it's just reconditioning your mind. Stop yourself up. Stop thinking, you can do everything, and just recondition your mind to say, okay, this I cannot change. Or this I can change by sending a text message, making a phone call, saying, hey, can we go out to lunch? This is what I regret that I did not do. And
Hmm.
you can do that because you feel that you did not do it.
Hmm.
You are in control of yourself. But with resentment, you can't make nobody do nothing for you. You can't make anybody be something that you felt that they should have been, do something that you felt they should have done, because that's based on what they did or did not do. You're resentful toward them. So you still have to work on that with yourself, but you cannot force them, anybody, to be or do what you felt that you needed. And a lot of people have that because they, number two, set unrealistic expectations,
Yes.
which you got to avoid. How are you going to set unrealistic expectations? It's hard to set expectations and it's risky to set expectations, period. Because, first of all, if you set an expectation and it's just in your head, nobody's reading your mind. Like, we don't have real life meta humans as they say on the shows. I learned that yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Real life
That's
meta humans that have superpowers and the superpower of reading people's minds. So nobody can read your mind to learn your expectations. And even if you tell of your expectations, are they realistic?
right.
Because when you set unrealistic expectations, you create unnecessary situations. And you these situations really within yourself, but you project them onto the friends that you have. Because it started in your mind. Now you mad at me because you felt like I should have been there for you a little bit more when you were going through your situation. But then I could be saying, well, I'm going to give them some space
Right.
because they need to work this. But you felt like I should have been calling every day. That's an unrealistic expectation, and it's unfair for you to be mad at your friend. Meet that expectation because did they know that you were expecting that of them? Well, I had this event, and I just knew you was gonna show up. But what if I was busy? What if I didn't have the means to get there? What if whatever, something could have come up? Now you mad at me. That's why it's good to have conversation. Because now you mad at me because I didn't show up when you needed me to, but you didn't know because you didn't ask whether or not I had you didn't know I had a lot going on that day. You didn't know that there was, I don't know, a death in the family. You didn't know that, whatever. We'll have to go down to scenarios. Speaking of scenarios, number three, we have to avoid imaginary scenarios. I'm a little insane, right? I sit
Mm-hmm.
up and I create. I have huh? Did you say? We'll talk
I,
about
I,
that
I'm,
later.
yeah.
I oh, you in agreement with number three? You and saying I'm insane.
Woo.
Okay. That's what it is. Praise the Lord. And all that getting, I like to get understanding of stuff. What shoes? What was I saying? Imaginary scenarios. A lot of the times we create these scenarios. I would literally sit up. I have whole conversations with people. I don't like to say this, but your people don't know me. I got my own podcast. Um,
You so petty,
I
y'all.
sit up and I have full blown conversations. Y'all just don't know. I've been on Jimmy Kimmel. I've been talking with the Queen. I've been interviewed by Oprah. I have interviewed Sykes. I've been
This
traveling
man
all over
here.
the world. I've started so many businesses and had so many meetings and all that stuff. I just set up and these are the scenarios that I create in my mind. But what we see a lot of people doing, and sometimes we do it ourselves, is we create these imaginary scenarios based on our friends and including our relationships and all that stuff. And so now we sitting around, got an attitude
Whole
over
attitude.
something that hadn't even happened. Like, why are you mad? And that has not even happened. Case in point. So I'm sure we have all had a situation where it was like, I need to tell somebody this, but I don't know how that's gonna go. I don't think if I have to tell them this type of news. So, okay, so let's go back to, okay, let's say you're planning a trip with your friend. Three or four y'all supposed to go out. Now something has come up and you're no longer able to go. You know that your friends are really excited to go on this trip and y'all have been planning and here we are. Something legitimate has come up and you're no longer able to go. So before you tell your friends, hey, I'm not gonna be able to go, you're gonna create a scenario in your mind. When I tell them, I already know what they're gonna say. I already know
Right.
this. We're gonna say this. We're gonna say that. That's a whole imaginary scenario. Really has not happened yet. And even if it has happened in the past, it's still an imaginary scenario because guess what? It has not happened yet with this situation. And so now you are mad or you're moving based on your emotions or you're fearful because what you think in your mind, you're scared that it's going to become reality. And now you're
Right.
basing reality and your actions upon your fear or your concern, thoughts that will happen. So let's stop having imaginary scenarios. It's just an
That's a good
unnecessary
point.
problem. Oh, thank you. Another one is approval addiction. A lot of people have
Whew, that's a good one.
damaged friendships because you have approval addiction. You're literally addicted. One of the things that I've quoted so many times from Oprah, she says, every person you ever will meet shares that common factor, or whatever she said. They want to know, do you see me? Do you hear me? Does what I said mean anything to you? In other words, everybody. And I've really, when I heard her say that, I started paying attention, and she's so right. Absolutely everybody needs validation.
Hmm.
Some need it more than others, some need it a lot less than others, some need it like subliminally, some need it just outwardly. But that's what that is. Some people are addicted to it. So you're addicted to approval. You'll change yourself for approval. You'll say things you don't mean. You'll say yes when you mean no, no when you mean yes. You'll go here when you don't want to go. You'll do all of this just so that you can get approval. So now who you're friends with. You're friends with these people, but they're not even friends with the real you. So of course the
Right.
friendship is gonna fail because they don't know you. And eventually the authentic you is gonna come out. But you didn't show them the authentic you because you felt like that wasn't gonna get you the approval that you needed. You have to avoid that in order to avoid a rift that can just destroy the friendship. Even when you're going through changes, just be real about it. Well, they might not accept this. They might not accept this sage version of me. If they don't accept it, then don't let them accept it. But you still be that real sage version of you because now there's a confusion. And then you're going to mess around and you're going to find yourself locked up somewhere because you became schizophrenic. Because
That
now you're
mindset.
trying to be all these different people locked up in this one person. And you got to turn off this person, this version of yourself because you're around these people, and then you got to remember to flip the switch again and turn this person back on when you leave, so you can go over to
Hmm.
these people, and you're gonna become a real life schizophrenic. So stop having unrealistic expectations. Stop having imaginary scenarios. Get out of that approval addiction that you in, and deal with that regret and resentment. And I think when we start doing that, because a lot of people don't realize, in order to have good relationships, however the relationship is, you got to do the work on yourself first,
Yes, you do.
and then you'll see these good friendships blossom, or the friendships that you have had that are kind of dying out. They'll begin to blossom,
Hmm.
and you'll
Because you're
have
being
less of
real.
these whole right, and you'll have less beef, less of these rifts between y'all, and you'll succeed more in life because you will have now healthy because they have to be healthy.
Got
If you
to.
do all of these, they gotta be healthy. Because if it ain't healthy, you'll know how to deal with it.
And so there you have it. The great Reggie Whitley, Lord Whitley, has spoken.
Hello, Bridgerton.
And so, with that being said, you just really have to examine yourself as a whole and don't give up so quick because you never know. Like I said, when I was going through certain issues, it took for me to just put myself out there with my friend, even though they was like, I can't believe you. I just couldn't believe you did something like that. And then I also had a few friends to start thinking, well, why she just didn't come to me? And I had to look at it too. Why didn't I come to them?
Oh,
What made
because
me?
a lot of people don't realize that, and then even feeling like you have to do everything on your own and not asking for help. So many people with the smallest things won't ask for help. Even men, when husband and wife go out grocery shopping, and then the man is like, "No, I can carry all these bags for myself." All of that is rooted in pride. You're too
Pride. Yep.
prideful, and so a lot of people say they don't have pride, but you didn't even ask for help on this project. A lot of people say they don't have pride, but you got friends who know law, and you have a law report to do, but you would rather research and call your friends who are lawyers to
Hmm.
assist you. Well, I was just not gonna call them because I didn't know if they were busy. No, you were prideful.
And that was me. And so, like I said, you have to self-examine yourself because I was prideful and I have lost. I'm not gonna say I lost. I have disconnected from a lot of people, but it wasn't their fault. Some of them weren't their fault. So majority mine, and some of them I just didn't come to because. And then also one of the main things that I had to learn, where you got to be able to trust your friends. I was like, well, they hang out with this person, so they gonna end up talking about me. And if that went to the back of my head, then I really need to check myself because I had to check myself to be able, okay, why I didn't feel secure with telling them this uh information. And
What can I say something to that? Not
mm-hmm,
only do you have to check yourself, but you got to check them friends too, because sometimes you know deep down on the inside that they were who you feel now that they were, but you just was ignoring it then, but you really knew they was missing. You really knew that you
mm-hmm,
couldn't trust them. So a lot of the times, because I don't want people to get the mindset of, oh, because I feel that way about this friend. Oh, so I just need to go ahead and trust them. No, because sometimes you be
yeah,
knowing.
yeah,
We all
yeah,
have those little signs. We all that we ignore the red flags because it's a small red flag and we ignore it. But a lot of the times you don't behave with certain friends because you know who they really are.
yeah, yeah. And you know,
But
and I
you
feel like
scared to let them go though.
yeah. And not only that, it comes to a point where you have to, like you said, you know how a person is, so that it goes to the level of not cutting them off, but you know how they are, and so it goes to a trusting situation. So I didn't trust them with the information, so I didn't say nothing, and so
Oh,
uh,
can I interrupt you one more time?
hmm,
I don't know. You know, it's probably gonna be one more, but
I
this is
know,
my goal to make it just one more. Because that makes me think of so many people do that because we have to get out of the mindset that you can trust all your friends totally because
yeah,
that's a facade. So there's three different kind of friendships, and I'm gonna go through them real quick. You got confidants, constituents, and comrades. Confidants are the very few. You're not going to have many. Those are the ones you can trust with literally anything. Absolutely anything that happens to you, you can because they are confident. You literally won't have that many in life. But when you have them, you got to hold on to them because you can trust them with anything without judgment, without worrying about them going back telling anybody else. You can trust them all the way. But a lot of people think that they have a lot of confidence, but you either have a constituent who are there or a comrade. So your constituent is there. They are kind of like there for you for where you're going. Y'all kind of sharpen each other. That iron sharpens iron. Y'all sharpen each other. But they're seasonal though. They're not confidants. They're seasonal. You can trust them in a moment. You can trust them to handle certain things. You can trust them to deal with certain things. You can trust them to push you further. You push each other further. But they're not there to stay. You know, when something better come along, they might leave. And then you have the comrades who they're against what you're against. So y'all fighting together and a lot of people think that because you have somebody who you have this common, I'll say, enemy with, that y'all can come together and you can just trust them with anything. But that's literally not true because
true,
they'll go back and they'll say, okay, I made amends with this person that we were fighting against. I made amends with this organization that we were fighting against. Now I'm going to go back and tell them everything that you said because we were fighting together. And but you thought that you could trust them, but you couldn't. You were just supposed to help each other fight against whatever it is you're fighting against because they're a comrade. People go to war, and you can go to war with people, and you can be in the war for 5, 10 years together, fighting side by side. But when you leave war, you go back home over here to America. You have nothing in common. You have nothing to talk about. When did you talk to your person that you were in war with? Hadn't talked to him in 10 years. Why? Because we had a common enemy. Once that enemy was defeated, we have nothing else in common. So you have to know who you can share stuff with and who not to share stuff with. All friends are not to be trusted with your life, and a lot of people think that that's how they end up getting hurt.
because you got to know what type of, to know what kind of, like you say, what group did they fall in, and it's okay if they're that Pacific friend that you need them to be. I think, like you said before, you just got to not put the expectations of people so high, and that's within a relationship. Your expectations. You got to know what expectations to set for certain people. So,
Right.
and I just want to thank you, Reggie, because this has been a good podcast and a successful podcast. So, with that being said, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. And like I say, always let us know. You can listen on all the podcasts, YouTube, everywhere. Just really with the productions. I mean, just listen, tune in, let us know what you think about each show, and we will be expecting Reggie back soon. Praise the Lord. But until then, this is your girl Shontal, and prepare for the next two episodes that's coming up, because it's gonna be real life changing. Mother's Day, and I have to have a conversation with you mothers out there, because we got to do better.
Woo.
Say what you want to say, but it's coming. Whether you understand it or not, we got to do better. We raising kings and queens, princes and princesses. We got to come together more better than what we are. And we're gonna discuss that on the next episode. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great day.